People around the country are experiencing amazing results, and you can too. Plexus Slim and Plexus 96 have been shown to reduce binge eating and to help increase your willpower over food. Plexus Slim, also known as the pink drink, is a powdered product that comes in small, easy-to-open stick packets. Just tear open a packet and add about 12 ounces of water. Drink 1 time a day for weight loss. When you take Plexus Slim, it basically convinces your body and your brain that you've already eaten and that you don't need any more food. Your craving for food is gone. Plus, right now, you can try it free for 7 days. Just email your name, address, and phone number for a free sample to tryplexusfree@gmail.com. Tryplexusfree@gmail.com. Plexus Slim, the pink drink. It works.
Good afternoon. It's 3:02. I'm Di Rice with the very latest in live, local, and national news here on Kcaa 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. A judge says a Baltimore police officer is not guilty of all charges in connection with the death of Freddie Gray. Officer Edward Nero was acquitted today on charges of second-degree assault, reckless endangerment, and misconduct in office. Gray died over a year ago while in police custody. Following the verdict, defense attorney Mark Zayon called for the state attorney to dismiss the charges against 5 other officers accused in the case as well. And violent thunderstorms are threatening about 14 million Americans today. Storms could bring high winds, large hail, and possible tornadoes from Lake Superior down to the Mexican border. Forecasters say severe thunderstorms are possible across a 1,300 square mile area from the upper Midwest down to Texas. And here at home, 9 Beaumont police officers took advantage of the same interest-free loan offer that resulted in their police chief being charged with misappropriation of public funds, but those officers will not be prosecuted, according to Riverside County District Attorney Mike Hestron. Between 2010 and 2013, Beaumont's then city finance director and city manager signed off on the loans totaling $113,773 without the authorization of the city council as required by law. Inland Empire weather today. We've got clouds out there and sunshine as well. A nice mix out there. Highs of 71, overnight lows of about 52, currently 72. So we have surpassed our high here in San Bernardino. Checking out your drive, little stop and go 15 northbound from Cactus to University. And on the southbound side of the 215 make that. It is a bit slow from Mount Vernon to Central, and the 60 east slow from Valley Way to the 215. And that's very latest with news, weather, and traffic on the station that leaves no listener behind.
This is Joe Lyons. Ontario International Airport would like to now honor the memory of those who have made the greatest sacrifice for our country.
May 30th is Memorial Day, and we honor the memory of Marine Sergeant James E. Johnson, who served his country above and beyond the call of duty. In early December 1950 at Udamni, Korea, Johnson's platoon was vastly outnumbered by a well-entrenched enemy force wearing the uniforms of friendly troops. Ordered to displace his platoon during the firefight, Sergeant Johnson placed himself in an extremely hazardous position to provide covering fire for his men, fully aware that his action meant either certain death or capture. He was last seen single-handedly engaging enemy troops in close hand grenade and hand-to-hand fighting. By his valiant leadership, Sergeant Johnson was directly responsible for the success of his mission and the saving of many lives, and was awarded the Medal of Honor for service above and beyond.
For those of you traveling through Ontario International Airport this summer, we want you and your family to have a fun and safe trip. For your own convenience, plan on arriving 2 hours before your flight. And remember, the TSA travel rules are for your safety. Ontario has 64 daily flights to 15 nonstop destinations, including service to Mexico. During the summer and always, Ontario International Airport wants you to sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight. KCAA now presents Crossroads, a program in the public interest, bringing you the issues you need to hear about here in our community. Now here's your host, Mark Westwood.
And good afternoon. This is Mark Westwood on Kcaa 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. This is Community Crossroads, a special program where we look into issues that concern our local and surrounding region and community. Today we have two special guests. We have Curtis Tuvey. I'm sorry.
Got it.
Curtis Tuvey. And forgive me, sir.
Anthony Serrano.
Anthony Serrano. That's right. I apologize. And what we're talking about today is Harmony, California, also known as probably Highland, California. Most of you know it as that. Harmony is a big, huge project to plan to build a lot of homes out in the Highland area, out Green Spot Road, almost to Mentone, actually. If you breathe a little bit more, you're in Mentone.
Correct.
But if I remember right, 3,900?
3,632 at full build-out.
Yes, 3,600 at full build-out, 12,500 new residents, and 34,000 new daily car trips, creating what a lot of people call is going to be a traffic nightmare. One way in, one way out. You know, Southern California is growing. We know this. Fontana is almost at 210,000 people now. That's how big Fontana has grown. But the difference is Fontana has massive areas of open space to its south, to its west, and to its east. And, you know, it backs up against the mountain. Well, Highland does that too. But Highland's kind of in a corner pocket. Like if you're looking at a pool table, there's that corner pocket, and there's not much to the west of it and not much to the east of it before it gets landlocked in. Area that used to have a lot of citrus groves up there in the hills, Green Spot Road. A lot of people know that. They're driving out the road. You drive out Green Spot past the Stater Brothers. You go out past the Stater Brothers. You go out past the East Valley Water Department, the new water department out there. Lots of citrus groves. You're out behind houses now. You go out past that new bridge that's out there, right, Curtis?
That's right.
And you keep driving because you're not to Harmony yet. And then you drive way out past, I believe, the second bridge that they've got out there. And you pass over that bridge, and then you come to where Harmony is.
Yeah, you're going to be going down. It's basically north of Highway 38 and to the east of Garnett Avenue, and an area that most people, they know it for all the groves that are out there.
Right, and I believe the city of Highland has about maybe 50,000 people right now.
Yeah,
about 50,000 people, if I remember right. And then, you know, you add 12,500 new residents. You know, that's a substantial increase in population and cars. And most homes, believe it or not, in California have 3 to 4 cars. That's the way it works with family members and extended family or whatever. Residents that live there, especially if they're upper, high-end priced homes, they're going to have big families in them. And so there's going to be 3 to 4 new cars per household there.
Well, that brings up a point as well, that when you look at the Planning Commission for the City of Highland and their estimate of 2.72 vehicle trips per day per household. That's where they came up with the 34,000 vehicle trips per day figure. And think about it, just what you said, 3 or 4 cars per family, and we're only allotting 2.72 vehicles per day. So I think we're really looking at a minimum there.
And then you look at schools. It's going to impact schools, especially the Redlands Unified School District, because I believe the high school students will all go to Redlands Unified School District. I don't know about the elementary school, but
all of it
will go to Redlands Unified School District. And then you have water, and we're going to have Mr. Serrano talk about that a little bit here yet today. This is, you know, a group that opposes it basically and says, you know, we need to stop and think about this. We need to plan this out. Maybe we need to rethink this. Maybe not totally eliminate it, but maybe reduce greatly the number of homes.
Well, we've been characterized as a group that is anti-development, and that's far from the fact.
You love your community, and that's why you have your website. It's called abetterhighland.net.
Exactly right. I moved to this area in 1997 myself after, you know, traveling around the world a lot and being all over 3 western states. But I grew up in the Pomona Valley, city of Claremont, and I remember that agricultural community. And in moving back to this area in 1997, I didn't want to move to Los Angeles. I wanted to move to a semi-rural area, and Highland was the place.
Right. And this just doesn't affect Highland. It affects Mentone, which is like literally, you know, a block away from it. And most of the traffic may go into Mentone to shop.
They've come up with a figure saying that about 56% of the traffic, how they know this, we really don't know. And in talking to members of the Planning Commission, they kind of shrug their shoulders. 56% of the traffic to be going down Green Spot Road, and the rest of the traffic going down Highway 38.
It's an easier trip to get into Mentone from that particular area. There's a Stater Brothers out there. There's some shopping out there, but it's not equipped for that. And plus, that's the area Highway 38 comes down from the mountains on.
That's correct.
So you could really have a traffic nightmare out there. It could spill into Highland. It could spill into Redlands. It really will affect the whole region, not just Highland. But yet it's Highland that's deciding on it.
It's going to affect, well, basically what you've already stated. We're looking at Highland, Mentone, Redlands, Yucaipa, Loma Linda, San Bernardino, all going to be affected by this. And all those cities, by the way, are served by the Redlands Unified School District, with the exception of Yucaipa. This is going to be adding a whole lot of students without a whole lot of infrastructure.
Yeah, and a whole, maybe more elementary schools, Of course, there's strains on other things like parks that the cities use, dog parks, that whole 9 yards. Let's talk about it. Water. Let's get right to the point here.
Anthony, you're
Everybody knows we're in a drought. Anthony Serrano is an expert at this, and we want to talk to Anthony about it. Where's the water going to come from? And step up to the microphone when you talk.
Sure. That's an excellent question. And in fact, if I can just cover 5-6 quick little points so we can lead into this. I became aware of this project back in 2015, and we started asking ourselves the exact question. The other item, in March of 2015, the city, East Valley Water District, published their information on the emergency drought regulations of 2015. The next item was we had an economic impact report telling us that we had to do this and find the water and go to a new water recycling plant.
Yeah.
And that report was done by Mr. Husing, John Husing. He told us we were going to be creating 15,000 new jobs, and that 90% of those jobs are going to be coming to our local community. Later, we had a newspaper article in June telling us we were wrong. And so the whole issue, we had about 3 promises made to us. They didn't work out. The water is a big problem, and let's talk about that. Right now, we have 2 wastewater treatment facility projects, which just make no sense. Right now, the San Bernardino Municipal Water Department began their clean water factory in February of 2015. Immediately at the same time, the East Valley Water District decided to start up their own wastewater treatment plant rather than moving forward with one project. Instead, now we're having duplicate costs, and it's all about the same water, the same wastewater, but we're spending twice as much money for both of these projects. And so where are we at today? There's been 2 lawsuits filed. One by Blum Collins, a law firm out of Los Angeles.
On behalf of A Better Highland?
No, they're filed it under Southern California Environmental Justice.
Okay.
On the Sterling EIR. And then number 2, the city of San Bernardino has filed their own.
When you say Sterling, you mean the Sterling wastewater?
Yes,
treatment?
the wastewater treatment facility. Because
they call that, it's not called that, though. It's called the Sterling Resources?
It's called the Natural Resource Center.
Right. It's called the Sterling Natural Resource
The
Center.
Sterling Natural Resource Center, ladies and gentlemen, sewage treatment plant. Okay.
Yes. So
it's where they take sewage
yes.
and make it back into drinkable water.
Yes.
So they say.
So they say.
Filtered out of any problems, I guess, but still reclaimed.
Right.
Well, and to be fair, it is water that what they intend to do is take this and pump it back into the aquifer. So it'll be filtered at a very high degree at the facility itself, and then Mother Nature is going to have its turn as it's pumped back into the aquifer.
Now, there's a guy down in Orange County, a legislator, that wants to make a new law that says they don't have to pump it back into an aquifer first. And that's still making its way through. That's pretty scary. But, by the time that this happens, that could possibly be the case where they don't have to pump it through the underground water aquifer. A water aquifer, for folks who are driving down the road don't understand that, it's just they pump it back into the rocks and the sediment and into the ground. It filters through the ground, and then they pull it back out of the ground. Am I correct or incorrect?
Yes, because there are three ways that we secure water. We have groundwater, we have runoff, and then we have recycled water.
Right.
So those are the methods or the sources that we get our water. And
when they say recycled water, it's such a little, it's lipstick on a pig. Okay, I got to be honest with you. Folks, this came straight out of your toilet, or maybe your bathtub, or it's the water that goes down the garbage disposal, or what you clean with cleaning solvents and everything else. They've got to filter that all out. And that's why it still needs to go into the underground water aquifer afterwards. And that's what I'm kind of pitching when I'm talking to you right now. Write your local assembly person, senator, and the governor and say, don't pass that law. But back to what you're talking about in the Sterling Water Resource Plant.
Yes. and so just to set the ground rules correct, off the website, we have groundwater, surface water, and our state water project. And to put the numbers in perspective, only about 2% of our water comes from the state. Right. The other 80% comes from our local wells and our processes. So it's not like we're buying 50% of our water from the state.
But there's limited amounts of that too. And as the population grows, as homes get built, more and more water is needed.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
So once again, getting back to your question about where is the water coming from? Well, at present, many of the water people in the Inland Empire don't want to talk about this. This is the problem. Our water comes from the north. Obviously, we built the Seven Oaks Dam.
Right.
The problem is above the Seven Oaks Dam, Southern California Edison and East Valley Water District get to divert water from the Santa Ana.
And there's real cost in that because there's energy too.
Absolutely.
Energy has to take to move that water. It just doesn't happen naturally. It has to be moved.
Right, but what we're talking about is Southern California Edison's actually diverting water.
Right.
And they're using it.
Excuse me just for a minute. Di, can you raise my microphone up a little bit, please? Thank you. Just a little bit more. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Right, so we do not know. It's never been disclosed to the public what the agreement is. We have no idea of the cycle process. We don't know how much Southern California Edison is diverting, what they're using it for, where they're taking it at, and if and when it comes back to us.
Right.
This is very similar to the Nestle water situation up in Strawberry Creek.
Right.
And the water plan up there showed that the water is minimal, but yet we all know what's going on with Nestle. They've been taking water. Getting back to Southern California.
And they're only paying like $537
a year.
A year.
For the permit.
For the permit. All that water, $537. Yeah, you can see how if we don't check this out, if we don't watch things, if we don't watch the big corporations or construction companies like Lewis Homes, they take as much as they can possibly get.
Right. So in the situation with Southern California Edison, getting back to your question, where's the water coming from? Well, the water is coming down, but it's being diverted. And no one is making Southern California Edison accountable for it. How much are they paying for it? What's the whole recycling process and getting back to us?
And the Bureau of Land Management, the BLM, needs to be checked on this as well because, that stuff goes through them and they just write off and sign off and they need to stop doing that. They need to start, like you say, stop Nestle from diverting all the water.
Right. But not only is
for Arrowhead bottled water, which you pay for then.
Right. Not only is it going on one end of the valley, but it's also going on up on our end.
Right.
And so the U.S. Wildlife is well aware of what's going on with the diversion of the water. Now, you will have seen on May 2nd where a young lady from the San Bernardino Municipal Valley Water District is proposing on the Santa Ana sucker that the Santa Ana sucker is being killed. Well,
what is the Santa Ana sucker?
The Santa Ana sucker is a local species. It's an endangered species. And
is it a fish? Is it a plant?
It is a fish. Yes, it is a fish.
So it's like those little minnows you see? Is that
yes.
what that is?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's real simple. You can Wikipedia it, In fact, the Wikipedia will tell you where it's indigenous to. It's indigenous to parts of Los Angeles County, Riverside County, Orange County, and only a small sliver south of Rialto in San Bernardino County.
Oh.
The problem is that San Bernardino Valley District claims that the sucker is not reproducing as quickly as it could be. So what do they want to do? They want to transplant the Santa Ana sucker up into the Highland area. As an example, there are 8 areas where they want to relocate the sucker. And this is the problem. We already have a problem managing our endangered species, where they're at. What's going on, it's almost like a land grab. Here you've got U.S. Fish and Wildlife wanting to introduce the Santa Ana suckered endangered species into another part of the valley of our district. And in a 2010 federal report, there were big exceptions being taken to introducing the Santa Ana sucker into other areas that it's not their habitat. So getting back to your original question, where's the water coming from? We know where the water's coming from. The problem is we've got people diverting water, like Southern California Edison, not being held accountable for. And then,
which makes it, this is what I'm saying, where's the water? It means, do we have enough water? And the answer is
no.
No.
In fact, if you look at the water flow reports, and in fact, in the May 2nd report by Ms. Dyer, Heather Dyer, she talks about the water flow problems. But the anomaly here is that if you do have water coming down, but you're having it being diverted, and you don't have adequate water flow, well, of course, then there are going to be problems.
Now, Curtis, let me ask you a question. And two, you got to update me, because the last time you were here, the Highland City Council hadn't voted on it yet.
No, we were going through the process with the Planning Commission and 3 very, very long meetings. I believe our last one was May 3rd, and the Planning Commission had 1 member absent and yet still voted to approve the Harmony project, a 3-to-1 vote, and it is now going to be moved ahead to the City Council, also to be looked at. We'll be going through the same process.
So the Planning Commission, Mr. Serrano, did they know about this, endangered species, the suckerfish, and the water problem, and that there is not enough water before they did this?
Yes. In fact, we made numerous written examples, and I have them here today with colored exhibits of the problems.
Now, the Planning Commission isn't elected. They're appointed by the City Council members, correct?
I don't know how
that's how they do, yeah.
come to be. Okay.
So they're an extension of the City Council members,
Yes.
who will now have to be elected by district, from what I understand.
They will, but before that election takes place, we are anticipating that they will come together for this very important approval or disapproval. We're certain they're going to approve it.
So maybe you shouldn't re-elect the ones that approve something like this. I think that they should take that into consideration. Water is the biggest issue I see. Everything else you can kind of overcome, but you can't make the rain fall.
You're absolutely correct. And let me give you one example. We raised the issue with the Planning Commission because under CEQA law, the California Environmental Quality Act, there is no provision. It's called CEQA Plus, getting back to the Sterling Project and your question about the water. The Sterling Project did not use a EIS, EIR type project. Instead, they used what was called a CEQA Plus process. Unfortunately, we covered this with the water boards in Sacramento. There was never a legal opinion to use CEQA Plus, and the Attorney General's office never rendered a legal opinion about using CEQA Plus. But nevertheless, there's a good number of agencies in California have been using CEQA Plus. There are some
It's convenient.
Well, yes, they don't have to disclose costs, and it's much more done quickly.
Yeah, no transparency.
No transparency at all.
And that's the problem with a lot of this stuff in San Bernardino too. They don't. What happened to our elected officials being transparent? But apparently that if you can get by with not being transparent now and you just go ahead and do it, They don't think people are listening. They don't think people are watching. And everybody says, oh, I stay out of politics.
Right.
Well, do you drink water? Do you want to pour a glass of water in Highland in the future and have it clear and clean and beautiful and crystal clear and safe for your children to drink? Not just, thrown out there, processed to supply the extra 3,600 homes in Harmony. This is something you want to consider. All politics.
But our only recourse, our only recourse in these situations are to pursue a writ of mandate, a lawsuit, if you will, because when we have planning commission members and we have project managers and city councils that ignore us, then the only thing we can do is file lawsuits, bring them in front of a judge, and then negotiate to get the answers to these questions. And one answer is very simple: is CEQA Plus a legitimate method to do an environmental impact report? I say no.
We might want to add another little thing that Anthony uncovered in talking with the different water agencies. We did some research. I should say Anthony did the research. April of 2015, the application was made to the state of California for monies from the $1 billion fund they have for water conservation projects. A little problem with that. They also need to send in supportive documentation. There has to be analysis for this project that was never sent in, and yet we're being told that it's already been 100% paid for out of these funds. Wow.
It's just incredible. We've been talking with the gentleman from A Better Highland group. ABetterHighland.net is where you find out about this. We're talking about 3,600 new homes, the impact it will have not just on Highland, but the whole entire region. We're talking about impact on water, schools, traffic, pollution. These are things, the impact on the local region that we need to talk about and its position and where it is. We're going to continue this discussion. We're going to go to a break here, Di, and after that, and after we come back, we'll continue on with Community Crossroads. I'm Mark Westwood, and we'll return right after this on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM.
This is Joe Lyons. Riverside Municipal Airport would like to now honor the memory of those who have made the greatest sacrifice for our country.
May 30th is Memorial Day, and we salute Army Sergeant Alvin York, who served his country above and beyond the call of duty. York was a quiet mountain boy from Tennessee who loved to hunt and shoot. German machine gun fire had taken a heavy toll on American soldiers when York was a corporal leading a platoon in no man's land in October 1918. All the other non-coms had been killed, and the situation looked hopeless when he bravely charged a machine gun nest that was pouring deadly fire on his stranded men. By his daring action and expert marksmanship, York was able to silence the machine gun, and a German major surrendered his entire group of 132 soldiers to one brave American. Sergeant Alvin York was awarded the Medal of Honor for service above and beyond.
This Memorial Day, the Riverside Municipal Airport salutes America's veterans, honoring all who have served. Riverside's airport itself, a Civil Air Patrol site, works with 2 universities offering aviation degree programs, tower control ILS, 6 flight schools, and an A&P school. Riverside Municipal also salutes the city's own National Cemetery. To all who have served, a heartfelt thank you from Riverside Municipal Airport.
Plexus Slim, the pink drink. It works. Consider the following. 95% of all diets and weight loss programs fail. 8 out of 10 Americans over the age of 25 are overweight, and 174 million Americans are overweight. Finally, there is a healthy solution to help you lose weight. The synergistic effect of Plexus Slim and Plexus 96 taken together can help you lose more weight faster than you ever thought possible. Experience quick results and keep the weight off. People around the country are experiencing amazing results, and you can too. Plexus Slim and Plexus 96 have been shown to reduce binge eating and to help increase your willpower over food. Plexus Slim, also known as the pink drink, is a powdered product that comes in small, easy-to-open stick packets. Just tear open a packet and add about 12 ounces of water. Drink one time a day for weight loss. When you take Plexus Slim, it basically convinces your body and your brain that you've already eaten and that you don't need any more food. Your craving for food is gone. Plus, right now, you can try it free for 7 days. Just email your name, address, and phone number for a free sample to tryplexusfree@gmail.com. Tryplexusfree@gmail.com. Plexus Slim, the pink drink. It works.
KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. I'm Mark Westwood. This is Community Crossroads. And with the second half of our show, we're talking about the Harmony Project. Specifically, we're talking about and talking with Curtis Tuvey and Mr. Serrano here. It's Mike Serrano?
Anthony
Serrano, excuse me. And this is a very significant project that will impact our community greatly in San Bernardino, in Redlands, in Loma Linda, in Highland, in Yucaipa, and Mentone. Harmony Project is, for those of you just joining us or just learning about it, is a proposal to build 3,600 new homes in the city of Highland, but basically right next to the city of Mentone. It will impact the region greatly. As we've said in the previous part of the show, 12,500 new residents are predicted, 34,000 new daily car trips over the roads. There's only a few main thoroughfares in and out of there. It's out in that pocket, that corner pocket where Highland and Mentone meet each other out among the rocks. A lot of people don't go out there too much. It's out in Green Spot Road unless you happen to live in that area of Highland and Yucaipa and Mentone need to get back in that area. It's a drive out there, and you're quite clearly out along a wash right under Seven Oaks Dam.
Correct.
There's some things to consider there. We've been talking about the impacts that it'll have on the schools and on traffic, but specifically right before the break, we were talking about the impact it will have on water. And Anthony gave me a letter written by the East Valley Water Department, which I will read. It was dated April 15, 2015, about a year and so many months ago. And it basically, I'll read you the part that says that they will be required to comply with all district rules, regulations, policies, and procedures, including payment for all capital improvements, main lines, extensions, sewer capacity, and other commitments to districts' resources, including like the Sterling Water Resource Plan. And what happened after that, Mr. Serrano?
We were told at hearings on December 1st and December 3rd, basically to ignore that letter. And in fact, we've had planning commission meetings. John Mira, the general manager from East Valley Water District, came to make a presentation, and he specifically said, well, the will serve letter means nothing. The next phase is really for me to step in and negotiate with a developer. Well, as a taxpayer, we're going by the April 15th, 2015
Yeah, you wrote the letter. It must have meant something at the time. Why does it mean anything now? And don't pay attention to it. They also promised a bunch of jobs.
Yes, we were told in the economic analysis report by John Husing on pages...
That's the EIA, yeah.
Yep, exactly. And we were told on the executive summary of pages 3 and 4 that there would be job creation of 15,000 new jobs. 90% of those would go to local residents. A payroll of $897 million, value added $1.3 million.
Sounds wonderful. Wow.
We
could use those jobs.
And then, guess what happened?
Let me guess.
They told us to forget about the economic report.
Why would they do that? Why all of a sudden it's all different?
It's the classic bait and switch. It's
the shell game,
yes.
You know? If you guess what prize is under the shell, and you keep trying to guess it, and there really isn't a prize under the shell?
That's right.
Is that what we're talking about here?
Exactly. And just to bring it to the latest, is that on April 14th, 2016, a joint statement on behalf of San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District and East Valley Water District regarding the City of San Bernardino litigation on the Sterling project. Your original question about where's the water?
Mm-hmm.
Now they're talking about 800 construction jobs and 1,400 permanent jobs.
It's a far cry from Mr. Husing's very optimistic outlook. Mr. Husing gives economic forecasts all over the Inland Empire,
Yes.
including San Bernardino. Some of them come to fruition, and some of them, well, let's just say they might be fantasy.
Right. In this case, I've spoken and sent emails to John Husing. He doesn't want to talk to me.
Oh, he's so respected. Yeah.
Well, we've
Husing
also
for every
seen,
years.
for the Sterling facility, we also see figures for its construction that go anywhere from 100 million to 126, which is the most standard figure. We've seen it in writing all the way up to 141. Could we get something that's stable, that's going to stay the same in all of this, so
Right.
that we know what it'll cost?
They're telling you, it's my opinion. I think they're telling you anything you want to hear to be able to build these homes.
Exactly.
And now we've got it to the point where it's past the RDA, the Redevelopment Agency. It's past the Planning Commission, and now it's at the City Council.
Right. But the good news is this. If the city council continues to ignore us, fine. Yes, you can do a lawsuit with a writ of mandate, just like the other two lawsuits that are going on the Sterling project, or quite frankly, we have a ballot measure initiative in this state, and we can put it to a public vote in November.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of residents who enjoy their lifestyle, enjoy what they have, realize that the city is probably pretty much its good growth potential, and especially out in that area. I think that maybe that might pass pretty easily if you get it there. Now, there's been a big change around the cities in the area. There was a $2 million lawsuit against the city down in Orange County, I believe, where they talked about equal representation and the fact that if you elect your town councils at large, in other words, you cast a vote for one of 5 people, and all 5 people might live in one area of the town. But so that doesn't really represent the other ends of the town. So these people like Highland, city councils in Highland and Ukipe have decided we don't want to go through all that legal, problems and lose money and pay. So I think we'll go to the district method where we elect by district, and I think that's the city of Highland for the very first time in November, if I'm not mistaken, is going to go to that district-wide election system.
Yes.
Right.
They were mandated by the court in a lawsuit, required them to go to forced them to go to district voting.
Right. And so the currently elected city council members, though, will serve out their current elected terms. They just have to be assigned to a district.
Yes. They have to live in one of the districts that's been put together,
right,
identified, and then they can rerun as a new candidate,
right,
which is fine. That's great.
Now, there's also been notification from a couple of them that they don't intend to run again, so that there are going to be some elections here. There's going to be some people who are there may be a couple of spots open if you're interested.
And elections have consequences.
They do.
Absolutely.
Elections have consequences. So, hey, this is a good time for them to back off from this. If you give them enough pressure right now, I think they might just back off from a vote.
Right. And not only is there an issue about the water, but it's also, you haven't touched on how to finance the project yet. It wasn't until December 6th.
Let's touch on that.
Pardon me?
Well, let's touch on that then.
Yeah, let's touch on that. The project's been going on for 4 years. It wasn't until December 6th that the city of Highland finally disclosed in the proposed developer agreement they wanted a CFD, a Communities Facilities District, which means that it's not private investment. All along, the taxpayers in Highland thought, hey, we're going to have a lot of new incoming private investment. No, that's not the case. Instead, we've got the old usual CFD that requires the local taxpayer, and we've got 54,000 residents in Highland, and we've got 14,000 homes according to Realty Track. And we're supposed to guarantee $1 billion to build out the Harmony Development Group for Orange County, who is the property owner.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I've left that part out. Let's go back over that. Let's not go over that so fast. This isn't like, this is the city. Okay. We had the Seven Oaks Dam project.
Yes.
And back in the day when all these water companies wanted some water rights, they had to be landowners in the area.
Yes.
So the county of Orange County, just like San Bernardino County, just like Riverside County, they all wanted some water rights from that very huge humongous dam that the Army Corps of Engineers, the earthen dam they built up there in the mountains that took, 3 or 4 years to build. So Orange County wound up with a bunch of land that they really don't need.
It's a borrow pit, or was,
Right.
and it was used for the construction of that thing.
So when you think of Orange County, you think of the 405, you think of the 22, you think of the 91. They're just so used to all that traffic impacting, and they're just used to that miserable process. They don't care about Highland. They just want to make some money. They want to get some of their investment back, and they wouldn't mind at all if Highland looked like Carbon Canyon on a Friday night trying to get home. And that's what will happen, folks. If there's intersections like this, the University Street I-10 westbound on-ramp, that Central Avenue, if you're around that area, Garnet Avenue, Bryant Street, Sand Canyon, all of these greatly impacted. The westbound ramps at Green Spot Road and the 210, Boulder Avenue, Green Spot, Weaver Street, Alta Vista. Hey, if some of these streets sound familiar to you, Orange Street, State Route 38, AM Peak Hour, University Street, Garnet, Bryant Street, Sand Canyon Road, of course, 14th Street in Yucaipa, all of them expected to have backups and impactions from these new homes and the 12,500 new cars that will be, or traffic trips that will be made daily. It's pretty incredible.
34,000.
Right. We made. Oh, sorry. We made issues. We made issues on the traffic study right from the very beginning. And in fact, it forced the developer to go back and redo the traffic study. The problem is they use an antiquated, paper-driven traffic study. They're checking off boxes. In today's business environment, it's all high tech. You do everything. It's highly automated. You can track all of the streets. Mm-hmm. Instead, when you want to go back and do a post audit on one of their traffic studies, it's a box of papers.
Wow. Incredible. We have about 15 more minutes to cover a bunch of subjects here. I also see this protectgreenspot.com website. Is that a friend of yours or associate, or is that another website for betterhighland.net?
I believe that's Wendy Ray's group.
I believe that's Wendy Ray's
Yeah, it's
group.
an environmental group.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because up in that part of the community, it's the Garnet Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
The city of Highland and the developer want to acquire. It's eminent domain is what they're going to do on the Garnet Bridge. They're building a runaround, if you will, and on that property, those individuals, those property owners, were very upset because of three things. Number one, the details were not included in any of the environmental impact reports. And then number two, the final report did not contain it. Instead, the city engineer prepared a separate presentation of materials.
More shell games.
Exactly.
More bait and switch.
And they were used
Smoke and mirrors.
at the planning commission meetings, and I had to go back. I've got the 2 pages. Mm-hmm. I said, hey, these documents were not included in the EIR. They were good enough to give me a second opportunity to go up to the podium. Finally, the city attorney cut me off and told me, tell you what, Mr. Serrano, why don't you have a separate meeting with Ernie Wong, the engineer, after the meeting, and you can go over these items. And Mr. Wong was very, very happy to do that. But the problem was they didn't include those documents in any of the documents that were circulated. It was not until I raised the issue that they were willing to put them out. But getting back to the Mellorews, that means that we've got 54,000 residents, maybe 14,000 of us are actually taxpayers. But Orange County and Lewis Developer and our own city is way out of touch, and that's why the court knocked them back on their fannies and told them, you've got to go to districts because they're out of touch. The point of it is they want us to guarantee over 3 million people in Orange County their financing for their project.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. And just like you said, will they pay their fair share? You've got to guarantee them a whole bunch of money. So you got to pay to go sit in traffic like Carbon Canyon on a Friday night on the 91. That's ridiculous.
Well, when you start looking at Mellorews taxes in California, there's supposed to be state oversight. There is so much of this going on that it's impossible. There cannot be any oversight. What it is a ticking time bomb, because it's also, and locally here, in local cities, there's examples of misuse of this form of taxation, and the people who have to pay it when they buy their brand new house are paying and paying and paying through the nose for years.
If I can give you a quick example, 3 things. Number one, we have AB 1666 in the legislature right now looking at Melrose financing and reporting. Number 2, the city of Beaumont just indicted 7 of their city attorney, their city manager, and others
On multiple
For-
felony
for
counts.
taking $42 million of Melrose money.
I've been
Melrose
reading about this. It's just incredible. It's like, how in the heck did that happen?
in San Bernardino, here in San Bernardino, 3 months ago, I had to testify because if you remember, the city attorney was assigned the project to conduct an audit because when the city wanted to transfer their fire department to the counties, there were some tracts of property out there. They couldn't determine over a 14-year period between 2004 and 2015 if the people in those properties had been assessed Melrose money and if they had paid the money. So it's right here in our own backyard.
Oh, yeah.
So-
And up in Sacramento, too.
Yep. So the bottom line,
If I make it to Sacramento
Yep.
after June,
and
I will do that.
And what happens in a Melrose? You have a maintenance Melrose. You have different structured Melroses. And what happens? The city and the developer get to charge back all they want since 2010 when they started looking at this project.
Wow.
They can charge back to the Melrose. So it's a piggy bank.
That's incredible. This blows your mind. And, one of the big things, on my campaign trail, because as you know, I'm running for 23rd State Senate, and I'm on the ballot in June, and I have to do that disclaimer. This is not about my campaign, but about your show. I just happen to be the host of this show. One of the things that we all need to look about is education. It's an important factor in our state. And when you look at what's going to be happening because of these new homes, this new development for Lewis Homes in Orange County, on the backs of the residents of Highland and their schools. Tell me about how this is going to impact schools in Highland and in Redlands.
Oh boy, do I have a lot for you. We're looking at Harmony is just one of 13 developments in the city of Highlands. It dwarfs all of the surrounding cities as far as what they intend to do for new development. And with Harmony, we're talking 3,632 new homes. But when you take a look at all these other developments as well, we're now topping 5,466.
So it's not the only development on the plans.
It is not. And again, these are figures. This is using the City of Highlands Planning Commission, their own methodology. They average, with this, they're looking at 3.44, and then it goes on and on, 3.44, 162, 996. But it goes on people per residence. So when you all of a sudden start looking at that, and we're already talking 12,500 individuals with the Harmony Project alone, try 18,821 with all of these new homes. Now, the figure that the Harmony folks have put out and the Planning Commission has put out, 1,889 new students associated with the Harmony Project to go into elementary, middle, and high schools. But by the time you look at the full build-out of 13 projects, now we're over 3,600. Oh yeah, wait a minute. The Redlands Unified School District, it serves Redlands and Mentone and Highland, Loma Linda, parts of San Bernardino. Now all of a sudden you're looking at, drum roll please, I have the figure, has about 5,569 students by the year 2021 that the Redlands Unified School District is supposed to absorb. This is why we've
incoming. That's what that sounds like. Yeah,
that's right. And this is why we've gone to the Planning Commission. We've talked to folks to say, why don't you? We're not anti-development. This needs to happen.
Cities live on tax increment.
But knock down the size of Harmony. Try maybe 900 homes. If Harmony was 900 homes, that means overall for the city of Highland, there would be 3,097 new residences for a total of 8,425 additional vehicle trips per day and 594 students. that's something that's workable for the infrastructure of the city of Highland, and it will be workable without a lot of negative impacts to all those other communities.
Right. Yeah, it's amazing when we talk these numbers and we say 3,600 new homes. It's like $1 million and $1 trillion. It kind of goes by people, but if you think about what 100 is, that's a lot. Just building 100 new homes, and then 9 times that, 900 new homes, is still a lot of homes.
That's a lot of homes.
And what Kurt hasn't told you, in the new development, and I know you're familiar with Gatto's bill from last year, 1483, on Blackwater, Graywater. All new developments are going to be having Blackwater and Graywater, self-contained water systems. And the water boards right now are working up the regulations on that.
And then the people better get their own home water filtration systems, and away we go. But
That's right.
What's going to happen. That's going to be your world if you allow this to keep happening, because you're going to be responsible for your own water, basically.
Right.
Drinking
So the
it.
city of Highland, one of the options, there were 2 options for Harmony. A self-contained option, which would mean under Gatto's bill 1483 that they would have to go to toilet to tap, is what that means.
Yeah, I was talking about it earlier. Yeah.
Right. Toilet to tap. And in the 5th district for Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors yesterday, they've got 6 candidates. They were all talking about gray and black water in LA County.
Right. And it's not being talked about too much out here.
Oh,
but,
no.
What it basically means is that you can put it through the water filtration plant, and then it doesn't have to go through the ground anymore. And then you're good luck getting what you get, because the best filtration system we have is Mother Earth. And they'll say it's drinkable right now. It's drinkable. They'll drink a little bit of it.
Right.
But drinking a little bit of it is not like you're bathing in it. You're drinking it every day.
You're bathing your children in it.
You're bathing your children in it day in and day out.
So out
forget
of
about
Harmony,
education, they're going to be sick.
So we've got to put a sign out to let everybody know where the proposed Harmony project's going to be. Right next to it, we're going to be putting a sign, or at least the legislators will be. This is the first site for Blackwater systems for new home development.
Doesn't Blackwater sound like Black Hawk? I don't know. Gosh, it just blows your mind. We only have about 6 minutes left. I want to talk to you and remind people what we're talking about. The Highland City Council is coming up for a vote on this. 5 people are going to decide. And you're thinking, after we talk about this, who in Highland would want this? Who in Kcaa? Who in Met? I can't find residents that really like this. Everybody I know is against this. I cannot find, except for maybe the few people in the planning commission and few people, the people, 5 people that are electing, that are, the city council. They don't think that they're very answerable, because people haven't turned out to vote. And I want to remind people in this time, today is the 23rd, correct?
Yes.
This is the last day to register to vote.
Yes.
You can do it at sbelections.com, right online, sbelections.com, or I think it's sbcountyelections.com, sbcountyelections.com. You can go to 777 West Rialto Boulevard in San Bernardino and register, or you can just log on to the California Secretary of State's website and register. Register to vote, and vote, because the weight of your vote to combine with everybody else is going to make them stand up on their hind legs instead of crawling into the rocks like they've been able to do when we've had 11% voter turnouts and things like that. And they're going to become answerable, because they know with this new redistricting that's happening, where they're going to have to be elected by district, they're going to be more accountable to a smaller group of people that are going to be more vociferous. That's a good thing. But, the weight of your vote is just as important as the single vote. And when I mean the weight of your vote, that means, all the votes together in the room can't be stolen. They can't be ignored, because they're like the gorilla in the room instead of the cricket. And we don't want the little cheap cricket. We want a lot of people, because it's going to take a lot of people to take this off the track.
It also might be good to mention that if you haven't voted in a while, that, again, go to the website, get in touch, and see if you're actually, all your figures, all your information is still accurate, because there are people that may find, and a couple of weeks ago I got voter information from the county to my house. If you haven't got that already, probably ought to check, because we need your vote.
I, state Senate candidate, haven't gotten my absentee ballot yet. Why is that? I got my sample ballot, and I have to go check that today, because I don't want anything to be wrong. I want to be able to vote for myself at least. But But if it's happening to me, it's happening to a lot of you people. Make sure you check on that today. And abetterhighland.net is where you can go to find out all this information, review it.
You can also go to No Harmony in Highland on Facebook.
No Harmony in Highland on Facebook.
No Harmony
That's
in Highland.
facebook.com/No Harmony in Highland.
Yep. We also wanted to get a word out to everybody to let you know whether you're for this, whether you're against it, whether you want more information so you can make an informed decision. We are looking at Saturday, June 4th at 9 a.m. We're going to have a community discussion. That's going to be at the Hampton Inn, and that's at 27959 Highland Avenue.
That's right where the freeway comes to Highland Avenue.
Yep.
At the end of Highland Avenue, over by the Walmart, over by the San Manuel Indian village there that they have,
Yeah.
the shopping village.
Right.
It's in that. It's right there. Just if you get on the off ramp, you've passed it and you'll see it right away. So get back off the freeway and come back around.
Right. So
We had the same meeting last year.
Uh-huh.
We had well over 100 people, but this time around we've got so much more information, so many more facts about how the local community is going to be adversely affected. They need to be here.
That's Saturday, June 4th, 9 a.m. Registration's from 9:30 to 11:30, and you just might see KCAA there broadcasting live.
that would be a wonderful
awesome.
thing.
Awesome.
Okay. And we're going to be talking about protecting your quality of life, looking at sustainable growth, which is, again, Residents for Responsible Development, otherwise known as abetterhighland.net, is not anti-development, and we definitely want people to be there so they understand the difference between an anti-development sentiment versus reasonable development that will actually fit, that can be absorbed by the infrastructure of our city.
And discuss this in your neighborhoods. Discuss this with your neighbors. Bring it up. Talk about it. Don't be afraid of conflict with people. Don't be afraid of different opinions. Respect each other. Give each other the dignity to be respectful. But let's talk about this.
Exactly
if you
right.
live in Highland, if you're in Highland, Village, if you're on the ranch, talk to the people in East Highland or West Highland. Talk to people at St. Adelaide's. Talk to people at the different churches around. Talk to people, inform them, because there's a lot of people that don't even know about this.
Well, and if you're listening to this now and you happen to live in any of these other cities, it may be that you can't vote because this, if it becomes a referendum vote, it will be for citizens of Highland only. But you probably know citizens of Highland. And if you're in Mentone, if you're in Yucaipa, and you're in Redlands, if you're in Loma Linda, San Bernardino, you may have somebody that you want to talk to in Highland to get the word to them about what's happening here.
Yeah, we only got about 1 minute left, but, again, abetterhighland.net is the place to go. June 4th, make plans to be there. Hampton Inn. And you might want to go across afterwards and have some great Mexican food there at the restaurant that I'm trying to think
Mi Cocina.
of. Mi Cocina, great
Very
food. I
nice
had it a
place.
couple of weeks ago. It was a great place. Make it a part of your plan to be involved and active in your community because, life is a participation sport. And you don't want to come out on the short end of this stick, folks, because you're going to be living with it for a lot of years.
Yeah,
Thank you, Chris.
Toilet to tap.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Curtis
Mark.
Tovey. Thank you, Anthony Serrano. From abetterhighland.net, I'm Mark Westwood for Community Crossroads right here on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. Stay tuned. No, you got me.
Thank you for listening to Crossroads. This program has been designed to present you with the issues that face our area. Your host has been Mark Westwood.
You're listening to KCAA, Loma Linda, California. The best station in the nation.
KC Radio. Another proposed corporate tax inversion has been called off because of the regulatory hurdles it would face in order to pay less in U.S. taxes. This time, Illinois-based fertilizer giant CF Industries ending a plan